Imagine walking past a tombstone carved almost 2,000 years ago and realizing its inscription is not just poetry, but a fully notated song. And astonishingly, we know what it sounded like.
Written in ancient Koine Greek, dating from the 1st century, this is the oldest fully preserved decipherable song in history. But how do we really know what it sounded like? Let's decode the Epitaph of Seikilos. The year was 1882. It was the era of the Second Industrial Revolution, the Transcontinental Railroad, and the Gilded Age in America, a term coined by Mark Twain. Across the Atlantic, over in Aydın, in modern-day Turkey, during the construction of the Ottoman railway line, British engineer Edward Purser unearthed a curious gravestone pillar with a Greek inscription and added it to his private collection.
That belongs in a museum!
Unbelievably, Purser's wife had the bottom sawn off straight so it could stand as a pedestal for her flower pots.
Are you kidding me?
According to American musicologist Thomas Mathiasen, the inscription can be securely dated to the 1st century CE. Paleographic evidence includes the use of swallowtail serifs, the nearly triangular phi, and the peculiar form of the letter omega. Songs older than Seikilos have survived, but they are incomplete and fragmented, such as the Hurrian Hymn No. 6 from circa 1400 BCE. The Seikilos song has long been described as a Skolion, a drinking song associated with Greek symposia, aristocratic male drinking parties accompanied by the aulos. However, Professor Armand Dangour from the University of Oxford argues that, though the epitaph's humanist message aligns with Greek symposia, the purpose of the epigram is clearly a funerary one. The epitaph begins with an elegiac short poem of 2 lines called a distich.
I am a tombstone, an image. Seikilos placed me here as a long-lasting sign of deathless remembrance.
What follows is a poignant song of counsel.
As long as you live, be light-hearted. Let nothing trouble you. Life is only too short. And time takes its toll.
Now let's get down to the technical nitty-gritty. Above the inscribed song lyrics, you may have noticed letters, dots, and dashes. These are musical notation symbols which indicate pitch and rhythm. A theoretical treatise from the late 4th century makes modern musical translation possible, entitled Asagoge Musicae, An Introduction to Music. It was penned by Alypius of Alexandria in Egypt, not to be confused with Saint Alypius from the 4th century or Saint Alypius the Stylite, a pillar saint from the 7th.
Oh yes.
I like your style, dude.
Our Alypius provided a musical cipher which we can decrypt in order to understand the 1st century Greek system. His tables are a veritable Rosetta Stone and are thus invaluable. In 1652, Marcus Meibomius published a collection of ancient texts entitled 7 Authors of Ancient Music. Asagoge Musicae was included. Here we have a table with 3 rows of symbols involving variations of the Greek alphabet. The symbols indicate vocal pitches. The rows represent the 3 tetrachordal genera from the ancient Greek greater perfect system. The first is diatonic, the second is enharmonic, and the third chromatic.
What?
Okay, let's back up for a moment. The greater perfect system was essentially a double-octave descending pitch collection constructed by stacking 4 tetrachords, that is, 4-note segments. Their boundaries are indicated with brackets. The earliest Greek lutes were tuned according to these tetrachords. In reading from the top down, the names of the tetrachords are hyperboleon, ditsugmenon, meson, and hypaton, meaning respectively of the extremes implying highest, disjunct, separated by a whole tone, middle, and lowest. Let's fill in the perfect fourth gaps with tones from the diatonic genus. Each pitch was also given a Greek name. For example, the mese is the highest note of the meson tetrachord, in the middle of the 2-octave range, and was associated with the sun. A symbol that looks like a semicircle on its side, like our letter C but not actually a C, designated this pitch, and corresponds to our modern pitch A3. This note, the mese, is the first pitch of the Seikilos song. The second pitch of the song, which is repeated, was called the nete ditsugmenon, residing at the top of the ditsugmenon tetrachord, and corresponds to our modern pitch E4. It was associated with the moon. The Greek uppercase letter zeta designated this pitch.
So complicated, dude.
Okay, so we've deciphered the first 2 pitches of the song. Now let's go back to the Greek genre, which were identified by both Ptolemy and Aristoxenus. In the diatonic genus, the interval between the upper 2 pitches is a major second. In the chromatic, it is a minor third. In the enharmonic, it is a major third. In the table provided by Alypius, the third row at the top is the chromatic genre. The K symbol indicates C sharp, a minor third below E. This is the third pitch of the song. Thus far, we can see that these Greek symbols translate to our modern pitches, which spell an A major triad. Western ears tend to interpret the starting A as the tonic and the E as the dominant degree. When we collect all the different pitches of the melody, arranging them into an ascending scale within the A to A octave, the result is a scale quite similar to A major.
Sort of.
But the 7th degree is not G sharp, but G natural. The natural, accidental, lowers the pitch. More precisely, this mode is a medieval church mode called Mixolydian, built upon A. However, the range of the melody is not A up to A actually, but E up to E, which is a scale rotation beginning on the 5th degree. If we consider E to be a new 1st degree, the result will be the familiar E Dorian, which is like E natural minor with a raised 6th degree. However, in ancient Greece, this octave species was referred to as Phrygian, also called Eostian or Ionian tonos, a mode associated with death. Finally, let's focus on rhythm. The basic durational unit of time, or pulse, is the protos chronos and is left unmarked. This translates to our modern 8th note. The dizeme, a horizontal dash, is equivalent to 2 time units, yielding a quarter note. The trizeme, a dash with a hook combined with a dot, equals 3 time units, producing a dotted quarter note. The final result matches well with what is termed duple compound, or 6/8, in Western notation. The 8th quarter is an iamb, poetic foot. I hope I've earned your like and subscription. Would you leave me a comment if you found this to be helpful? See you in the next video.